You see, this is cool. Usually, I would do these reviews in the morning, the next day. But being that I'm on vacation from my morning job, which I usually get up at 3 in the morning, I'm able to do this today after the show's over. So if you're wondering if this is going to be continuing, no. Likely next week, if I'm able to do a review, I will likely do it the following day in the morning. But let's enjoy it right now. Yes, I did watch AEW Dynamite. It's my day off from my second job as well, so I had the whole day to myself. And I can't complain, I had a very good day. I worked out in the morning, went to the park, I cooked dinner, I cooked a oven roasted chicken, and then I did the cauliflower rice with mushrooms and stuff like that with onion. It's amazing stuff. My food is the shit. Just saying right now, okay? And then I went to get a car wash. Yes, I finally washed my car. And God knows how long. It did need a car wash, so I washed my daughter, if you will. And then I had the whole day to myself. I played some PES, Pro Evolution Soccer. And then I watched Dynamite. Holy crap, yes, I watched Dynamite. This is, by the way, your AEW Dynamite review for June 17th, 2020. By the way, let it sink in right now. I turned 30 in 10 days. Holy fucking shit. I am not ready. I am not fucking ready to be in my 30s. I can't complain. In my 20s, I did a lot of things that I should not be proud of, but that's besides the point, okay? If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. Give the video a big old thumbs up and share it through social media. Because why the fuck would you not? Why the fuck would you not? Just saying, all right? This week, I did an unboxing video or unbagging video of Pearls and Tees, which I'm repping one of the shirts that I showed in the video. Myself and Big Mike, we did our last episode of the Throwback where we talked about Invasion 01. Go give that a listen. It's really worth a listen. I know there's audio issues, but hey, if you can ignore that, it's really worth a listen whenever you get a chance. And next week, we'll be recapping WCW New Blood Rising. God help us all, if you will. But anyway, this is your AEW Dynamite review for June 17, 2020. Overall, I was expecting to watch this show and just go meh. But honestly, I thought this show was very, very solid. I can't sit here and be like, oh man, I enjoyed everything on the show, because honestly, I did not. But nonetheless, I ended up watching the show. I left the show basically saying, you know what? Not bad. Good job, AEW. Especially with the debut of one former NWA television champion, Ricky Starks, who, if he's not signed by now by AEW, which will be ashamed, I hope, honest to God, after this whole thing is over, AEW does offer Ricky Starks a contract. Because honestly, that's his fit, in my opinion. But we'll get into that later on in the review. And I'll have fun stuff. Follow me on Twitter at HeelSteven. So the show kicked off with a tag team title match of Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page defending the AEW tag titles versus the Natural Nightmares of Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall. I thought this match, honestly, to way to kick off the show, I'm fine with. Okay, you want to get people excited with a championship match. And I felt like overall, for what they did here, I thought it was solid. Granted, there's one spot that I did not really, I can't sit here and say I'm a fan of. So Dustin does like a dive to the outside, and he lands on Kenny and Hangman Page. And you see Kenny getting right back up real quick for a move that QT does. And it just came off so stupid. But other than that, they gave you this idea that, hey, you know, QT and Dustin have a chance. They were number one contenders and all that stuff. They challenged for the tag titles. And just when you thought, hey, you know, it might very well happen. Just might very well happen. Out came Allie. And Jim Ross referred her as a Jezebel. Like, when the last time you heard Jim Ross refer to anyone as a Jezebel? I'm just saying. So all that happens. You see Brandy trying to, I guess, confront Allie in a way too, for whatever reason. To which then you see Hangman and Kenny hit the last call on QT Marshall. QT gets pinned for the 1, 2, 3. I mean, again, you're not going to pin Dustin Rhodes. That's not happening. However, when you think about it, we saw in the ring, literally, when you look at someone like Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page, Dustin Rhodes, QT Marshall, hell, even Brandy Rhodes, you are looking at the real inner circle of AEW. And if you get what I'm saying, awesome. If you don't, learn to get it. That's all I can say about that. But that is what you see within the inner circle of AEW. Members, if you will. But that's around the point. After this, we had a video package for Anna Jay. Anna Jay had a video package which I thought was very well done. Introduction to who she was and all that stuff. Yes, she had a match a couple of weeks ago with Hikaru Shida and she lost. And again, I was all for it. The video package, that is, right? She has her match with, I believe her name was Abaddon, who's like this monster horror film character, which is cool, I guess. Hey, if you're AEW, you need characters, right? So there's that. I'm fine with it, if you will. And I was expecting Anna Jay because, again, they presented this video package on her to get the win. And that didn't happen at all. Instead, what you got was Abaddon pulling the upset win. And I'm here in shock, like, wait a minute, really? You play a video package for someone to have people get behind, right? To support, and you have that person who you played a video package for lose. And all this led to the Dark Order to come on out, right? All the members of the Dark Order, including Evil Uno and the other guy whose name I'm going to have a fucking brain for right now. If you guys can help me in the chat, in the comment thread, let me know. Gleason, there you go. I think it's Zach Gleason. If I'm butchering the name, I apologize. But they're back, if you will, as members of the Dark Order. And they hand Colt Cabana a contract, apparently, a paperwork, if you will. And you see them also helping Anna Jay get back on her feet. And you see Brody Lee offering a hand. Could this be that, hey, all this was done just so Anna Jay can join the Dark Order? Are we possibly seeing the first lady of the Dark Order? Maybe so. And again, at the same time, I get it. You want to recruit people. Let's recruit all these losers that keep on fucking losing, that keep on jobbing, if you will. Where the fuck is Joey Janela's invitation? I'm just saying. Where the fuck is his invitation? But that's beside the point. But that's what it's all done for, just so the Dark Order can come out and all that. So we find out that next week it's going to be a Brody Lee, Mr. Brody Lee, Mr. Brody, if you will, and Colt Cabana versus Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. So there's that, if you will. Just so you know, don't be surprised if once again Sonny Kiss. I mean, they had a win on Dark. That's fine. But don't be surprised on Dynamite they get the L. It's going to happen. From there, we go to MJF versus Billy Gunn. You had Austin Gunn. I almost said Bart Gunn. I don't know why, but I just did. Austin Gunn at ringside. This match, for what it was worth, it was okay. Nothing to go crazy about here. You had Wardlow at ringside. It literally came out just when Billy Gunn hit the famous. I'm sorry, Billy. I can't say Billy Gunn. He can't say Billy Gunn in AEW, but Billy, right? Hits the famouser. You think it's going to be over with, right? At the same time, MJF is working on the leg of Billy, right? Throughout this entire match, too. It's a moment where he hits an Indian deathlock. He's holding on to the rope, and Aubrey Edwards kicks his legs and kicks his arms, by the way, of MJF. But Wardlow comes out just when you think Billy's going to win and distracts the referee. You see Austin Gunn getting his ass kicked by Wardlow. You see Billy getting the right hand or throwing a punch at Wardlow. At the same time, Wardlow threw the AEW ring, Dynamite ring, over to MJF, and he hits Billy with it for the 1, 2, 3. So MJF wins. Again, he's still undefeated. Which, again, rightfully so. I mean, you want to make him look strong. And then when you think it's over with, all this leads to a brawl between MJF, Jungle Boy, Wardlow, and Luchasaurus, and Marco's stunned for whatever reason. They're all brawling, right? They made a big deal out of this, and next week we're getting a lumberjack match between Wardlow and Luchasaurus. So the battle of the big guys, finally. Let's see where this goes. The battle of the fucking big guys. I'm all for it, believe it or not. I really, really am. So after this, we get a backstage interview between Jericho and apparently told Alex Marvez that Orange Cassidy had to be taken down last week because he kept interrupting the inner circle. Sammy also backed him up, and Jericho added that they'll do the same thing to the best friends this week. Because again, the main event is the best friends of Trent and Chuck Taylor versus Jericho and Sammy Guevara, where the best friends are putting their tag team title match on the line. So that was your main event of the night, a tag team match, playa. So we get Tony Schiavone. He announces that Penelope Ford will challenge Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's Championship at Fyter Fest, which angered Britt Baker. She's angered by this, right? And who told him that he just lost an interview with her and TNT would be mad. She ordered Rebel to drive her cart away. But instead, it was revealed that Big Swole took over the driver's seat and drove off with Britt Baker. Keep this in mind, it is a whole thing where I guess Big Swole grabbed her iPhone or her Galaxy phone, or the fuck it is, and started filming herself driving while this is happening. Like a kidnap scene. Holy shit, we kidnapped Britt Baker. You kidnapped the role model. And honestly, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. At first, I really wasn't big on the whole Britt Baker gimmick. Part of me still isn't. However, I can sit here and say that it's starting to grow on me. It took a while, but it's growing on me. Hell, Dixie Carter's heel turn in TNA, I wasn't big on it at first. It took a long fucking time for me to get into it. So I knew, again, I would hate it first, but I'll get into it. So again, people were, oh, you gotta be positive, Steve. Again, guys, give me time, okay? Give me time to get into something, to warm up to something on television and shit like that. For example, I'll give you an example. Orange Cassidy is an example that I'll give you. I really wasn't, again, I seen him wrestle live. I get the gimmick, fine. Is his character meant for television? At first, no. However, the guy grew on me. I can sit here and say, I'm a fan of Orange Cassidy. The guy's the man. He's the top merch seller, to my understanding, on AEW Shop. I got friends that watch this stuff, and at first, even them, like, what is this? A guy who's barely throwing any kicks, any chops. He doesn't give a shit. But as you keep on watching him and stuff, and you're entertained by it. And hell, I'll even say this. There's an episode that he did with a shot of brandy where he came out like a fucking star. How can you hate on that? But that's besides the point, though, okay? I know I'm rambling on here. Podcaster talk, if you will. So there was that. From there, we get Cody Rhodes and his TNT Championship Open Challenge. He came out with Coach Arn Anderson. And Arn's telling him, hey, I know he wants to fight Jake Hager right now, but that's not in the plans right now. You see Jake Hager watching on a monitor, by the way, while all this is happening. And it looks, again, from the vibe I'm getting is, and again, I'm late with this, whatever it is, what it is. Arn Anderson is picking the opponent. He's hand-picking these opponents. And he told him that his opponent that he's going to face, that being Cody, that is, right, is someone that's going to make him step his game, something like that. To that degree, you see a video, some guy walking in, and it turns out to be, like I mentioned earlier, former NWA television champion, the one, the only, Ricky Starks. And I was excited because, hey, Ricky Starks is an AEW. He's being labeled as this free agent, meaning he's not signed yet. Hopefully by the end of this night, he is already signed. Likely, as I'm doing this recording, he's already signed to a deal. And you guys will probably put in the comments, Steve, he already signed the deal. He's already signed. I'm just waiting for that graphic to pop up, right? Where they got the PNG image of said wrestler behind the brick background, and then it says on the next to them, it says, is all elite. I'm waiting for that graphic to pop up real soon. I've seen people do photoshops of it in the last hour or so, but I'm just waiting for AEW to post it on their Twitter account. But the match overall, I thought, was very well done. Ricky Starks held his own. He looked like he belonged in the ring with Cody. I get it. Cody defending this title. Cody is the TNT poster child, if you will, right? So I get it. I said this earlier. If there's anyone that should, and especially in this match, a part of me thought, okay, you know what? Maybe for the upset win, if you really want to showcase Ricky Starks, have him beat Cody. Or if not, let this go to a 20-minute draw, time limit, right? Because after all, every match is 20 minutes. And if there's anyone who's in AEW that can actually probably go 20 minutes with Cody besides Darby Allin, who went to a draw with Cody, or time limit draw, if you will, at last year's Fyter Fest, it could be Ricky Starks. And again, it was a very good match. Starks held his own. Cody held his own. At the same time, I'll say this, for all the shit that Cody gets, because for a lot of people, again, believe it or not, for a lot of the diehard AEW fans, believe it or not, they have this belief that Cody owns AEW. But that's besides the point. But that's what you get, right? I'll say this. It's cool to see Cody working with a lot of these undercard guys, and he's helping them elevate themselves, making them feel like $1 million. Kind of like, again, I know, how dare you compare him to that? Like Ric Flair did back in the 80s, right? When he would go to all the territories as the NWA World Champion, and he would wrestle the territory's top guy, who on paper does not belong in the same ring with Ric Flair, but Ric Flair made that said individual feel like $1 million, if you will. And the match, again, is back and forth, near falls, and eventually Cody hits the crossroads for the 1, 2, 3, and Cody remains still TNT champion. Had this discussion on Twitter with SP3 of True Heel Heats. Made a valid point. It's still too early to really go the time limit draw with Cody's title right now, with the TNT title. And I get that. Made a very valid point. It's going to happen eventually, but still at Fyter Fest, we're getting Cody and Jake Hager. But besides all of that, I really hope that AEW does do the right decision, that being Tony Khan, that is, right? Throw some of that Tony Khan money that looks funny in the air over to Ricky Starks. I do feel like some of that, like Ricky Starks in AEW, would be a good pickup. Would be someone that could, I'm not saying going to help elevate that division or that roster, but it's a good addition to that roster. And matches you could have down the road. Ricky Starks versus Sammy Guevara. I know if they were a tag team on the indies, you can do Ricky Starks and MJF, Ricky Starks and, I guess, Jungle Boy down the road. Just throwing some random names. Again, you can even go back to a Ricky Starks and Cody match down the road. Ricky Starks, Hangman Page. Ricky Starks versus Joey Janela. Why the fuck not? Even though Joey keeps losing every single fucking match. I don't know why, but it is what it is. Or Ricky Starks versus Darby Allin. But again, it's a star for the future as well for AEW in the long run. And I'm all for that if it does end up happening. So Tony Khan, throw some of that money over to Ricky Starks. Just fucking saying. But I am waiting on that graphic though to pop up by the end of this whole recording. Okay. From there we go to the Young Bucks versus, and if I'm reading this right, the Super Bad Squad. What kind of a shitty name is the Super Bad Squad? Yes, don't get me wrong. I can appreciate Kip Sabian. I can appreciate Jimmy Havoc. Don't get me the fuck wrong. Don't get it twisted. But that is a stupid fucking name for a tag team. And for Jim Ross on commentary to say, oh, they got the best, AEW has the best tag team division in the world. Even if you believe that, when you have a tag team named the Super Bad Squad, it's just, nah, bruh. Come on, fam. Y'all can do better than that. And I know that AEW lets their talent have full creative control on a lot of shit, But goddamn, yo, who approved this shit? I'm really wanting to know. I hope it really wasn't Tony Khan. But besides the point, though, right? The match for what it was okay match. I was fine with it. You had Sabian and Havoc getting all this offense on the Young Bucks. Matt Jackson still had his rib injury. They're working on the ribs. Got a lot of near falls. You had the Butcher and the Blade at ringside, dressed now as milkmen, if you will, from like the 1950s, it looks like, or guys that are fresh out of the jail cell and shit. And they're at ringside while all this is happening. The Young Bucks eventually do get the win. Of course they would, right? They got the win. And they won with the Kamigoye. Keep that in mind, right? Homage to Kota Ibushi, if you will. And then after this, Butcher and the Blade get in the ring. They attack the Bucks. You had FTR also at ringside. Keep this in mind throughout the whole match too. And they get involved in this giant brawl between the Young Bucks, who were being helped by FTR, as they all went up against Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc and the Butcher and the Blade. They hit this double pile driver. FTR on one of the guys and the Young Bucks on another guy on opposite corners of the ring. The stare off. Again, I'm all for this. Don't get me the fuck wrong. I hope, though, that you don't rush a Young Bucks versus an FTR match. I hope, honest to God, yo, if you're AEW, this you milk. Milk this as long as you can. Honestly, if it was up to me, do this match at All Out. I think that is the time to do this. And if you can milk it for that long, awesome sauce. Awesome fucking sauce. The last thing I want to see is them do this at fucking Fyter Fest, right? And then what? Then what do? You're going to have a series of matches? It's fine and dandy and all, but this is just the problem I have with all this too. Okay, and again, take it for what it's worth. It's cool that FTR's in AEW. And after the match, everybody wants to see the Young Bucks and FTR. But after that, then what? That's the question. Don't get me wrong, there's Santana and Ortiz, if you will. And again, at the same time, they're making all these tag teams up on the spot too, which is fine as well. But other than that, let's see where all this goes. But I do hope, though, that AEW does milk this shit for as long as they can within the Young Bucks and FTR. Let's hope they do. Let's hope they fucking do. Also, they find, apparently backstage or somewhere, Rebel ends up finding Britt Baker in a dumpster. And she's like, oh, I've been here for 5 hours. You're fired. No, you're not fired. Help me get out of this dumpster. Where's Tony Schiavone, that is, and all that shit. So there's that. I mean, again, like I said before, Britt Baker, she's growing on me, okay? I'm warming up to it. Just give me time, people. Give me fucking time. After this, we get a outside under a bridge. Taz was cutting this promo on Jon Moxley. And apparently Jon Moxley deserved the attack from Brian Cage after the way he was talking last week. And Cage yelled about how he wants to beat Mox up. And the way he said it too, is like it explains why. It explains why Taz is partnered up or being the manager or the spokesperson for Brian Cage. Brian Cage is an amazing athlete. Don't get me the fuck wrong, okay? But there's a reason why he didn't speak in Impact Wrestling. His mic work really isn't up to par. That being said, that's why you put him with someone like Taz. It made a lot of sense. And you hear him talk here, it's like, nah, bruh. This is the guy challenging for your world title. If he can't even speak on the fucking mic or cut a promo barely, nah. That being said, though, good talent. I do feel him and Mox will tear it up at Fyter Fest. But you hear him there, it's like, but it's kind of cringe, in my honest opinion. But Taz, though, spot on as fucking always. So there's that. Under a fucking highway. Part of me would think, hey, if I'm driving my car down the highway and I see these two guys is literally out there in the public, I'm like, should I throw him $1? I don't fucking know. So there's that. Jon Moxley also got a promo about how he's ready to face Cage as well. So there was that too. It is what it was. Again, I look forward to their match. Then we get the main event. the best friends versus the sex gods of Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho. You know, me and Chase Oliver 68, we talked about this during the Double or Nothing review that we did a while ago. How Sammy is just a future star in wrestling. And he is. He's amazing. Don't get it twisted. And if you're AEW, you better lock that kid to a deal. Long-term wise. Because you know for a fact, once this deal the AEW is done with, and if WWE wants that money out there, for someone like Sammy, it could happen. It could very well happen. I see Sammy, I sense like Canelo Alvarez vibes, if you will. I get the Canelo Alvarez vibe, that being said. But in this match, though, again, the stipulation is best friends are putting their number one contender match for the AEW Tag Titles at Fyter Fest on the line. Okay? And I thought overall, again, it was a very solid main event. It's cool to see Jericho also, just like Cody is, working with these young talents as well that are, on paper, when you think about it, on paper don't deserve to be in the ring with these guys, but they're making these guys feel like $1 million, like they belong and shit. That's cool to see too. Okay, you had Matt Hardy also at commentary for this, because next week is Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. Like I said before, the match was okay. It was solid, good back and forth, good near falls here. There's a moment at the end of the match where Sammy, I guess he gets tricked by the cameraman. And you see, I think it was Trent hitting the finisher for the 1, 2, 3. And just like that, they hit the Dude Buster on Sammy Guevara. And with that being said, the best friends are still the number one contenders. They are facing Kenny Omega and Hangman Page at Fyter Fest. And it was revealed that the camera guy was Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy was dressed in all black, a la Hulk Hogan, if you will, during the time of the NWO and shit. Oh, he's wearing all black, if you will, right? Remember that? And he attacks Jericho. He takes off his mask, takes off the shirt, the hat, whatever, and he's attacking Jericho. And that's how we end the show. That's how you end the show. And we find out that at Fyter Fest is going to be Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. I look forward to seeing it, believe it or not. I look forward to seeing the match. I do feel like, honestly, it should be a very fun match. Like I said before, it's cool to see guys like Jericho and Cody working with the young talent right now, making them feel like $1 million and all that stuff. That's awesome. Overall, like I said before, Dynamite overall was a solid show. I thought at the end of the day, you know, again, I haven't sat and watched a full episode of Dynamite in God knows how long. Again, it's my work schedule. I have 2 jobs. The fact that I'm on vacation from my morning job, I'm able to do this review right now and not the next day in the morning. The fact that it's my day off from both jobs, period, even better. That being said, guys, give me your thoughts in the comments below. Your thoughts on Dynamite. Did you enjoy the show or not? Let me the fuck know. Or if not, let me know on Twitter at HeelSteven. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. Like I said earlier, I did do a unbagging video from Pro Wrestling Tees. As you can see, I'm wearing one of the shirts in this recording right now. I also, myself and Big Mike, that is, right? We did record last week, but we uploaded on Monday because my internet went out during the weekend. Episode 7 of the Throwback, where we talked about Invasion 01. So go give that a listen. I know there's audio issues again, but go give it a listen, all right? It's really worth a listen at the end of the day. It's also available on the podcasting platforms where you can listen to Around the Point, whether that would be over on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, Anchor, or over at Spotify, if you want to listen to Around the Point and as well the Throwback. And with that being said, guys, hate, comment, and subscribe, dorks. This has been your AEW Dynamite review for June 17th, 2020. I turned 30 in 10 days. Holy shit. I cannot wait. I guess. I don't know. But that being said, y'all, I'll see you on the next video. After all, it's wrestling and whatever.